Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss at Internet Shitlords, and today I have done something I don't usually do. There's Domino. I've brought her over here because, well, frankly, she's too tiny to be able to even get, like, let me see if I can turn her around a little bit here. There you go. Well, she drinks her little milk there. Yeah, see, she is so small compared to Meatball, and to say nothing of Big Chungus. She's a very tiny kitty right now. So, you know, normally I would never just put the cats there. But I know you guys would be wanting to see her. You'd be interested in getting more of Domino right now. And she is so unbelievably cute. And she's very clever. She has this interesting thing, which is that Meatball and Chungus, neither of the two of them ever paid attention to screens, right? But Domino, she can see what's going on in screens, and she sometimes gets like enraptured watching a show, you know? Like, it's really funny. And she like sometimes paws at something if it's moving too fast in the screen and whatnot. So she's got a different sort of brain, I think, than my previous two cats. Now, Meatball was super intelligent in many other ways. Chungus, sadly, was not. But there we have it. But I think Domino is definitely a very clever and perceptive kitty, and she's already quite agile. She's not, however, agile enough to jump by herself onto the counter. It's too high for her. She can jump off, but she can't jump on. And you know, I'm not going to put her on here every time because I with my other videos, my other cats, I always let them figure it out, right? Like I would have my other cats would jump on when they wanted to, and if they didn't want to have anything to do with the video, they didn't. And that's how my policy generally goes, right? So I don't know how much I'll be showing you guys Domino until she's capable of actually jumping up on by herself. But I'm sure you'll see her a lot in shorts and stuff. Anyways, let me get started here. So today I wanted to talk about a kind of subject in game design, which is there are a couple of ways that people can design games, and there can be advantages and disadvantages to both of these methods, but they definitely produce different results. Here she's back. So in the first place, I want to say that I was inspired to do this video because of a post on X by Harmony Ginger, which was not about RPGs. She was talking about board games. And she pointed out, quite correctly I might add, that she likes American board games much better than like European board games. I would say actually they're German board games, right? What we think of today as Euroboardgame started as a design movement in Germany. And there's a reason why they're all kind of similar in certain ways, and why they're different from American board games. American board games tend to have some kind of a theme or a subject, and then rules that kind of work around that theme or subject. European board games have a set of carefully determined, essentially mathematical rules, or in other sense logical rules, that they then pick any kind of aesthetic, any kind of image, and put it on top of those rules to create a facade of a setting for a game, right? So you see games like Settlers of Catan, Carcassonne, those are games that are essentially in that German Euro style, that when you think about it, if you erased all of the elements of medieval trappings and you just had like boxes and squares, it would be the same game. It's actually an abstract game. It's not a game that is meant to simulate a place or a thing. It's just an abstract game. And the simulation is therefore completely superficial, okay? On the other hand, if you have something like Axis and Allies, right, which is an American game, or for that matter, Memoir 44, or a whole bunch of other American-made war games, you'll see that there is something that is inherent to the setting. And that's, in a sense, to the detriment of the abstract, logical perfection of the rules. Okay? So I'm talking about board games here, maybe war games, but this is also something that applies to RPGs. And the thing is, I have seen a lot of people who try to make RPGs. A lot of people contact me, and I want to mention that like, you know, I have done a lot of consulting in the past. I've done consulting for big companies and sometimes for small companies if it was a project I thought I was very interested in. But I have been very busy lately. It's very difficult for me to get around to being able to do any kind of serious consulting. So I'd either have to be paid an awful lot to do it, or it'd have to be a project that I was really, really wanting to be a part of or something in like some other way. But I still get a lot of people who ask me for help with the game they want. I have a game I want to design. I need your help, right? And a lot of the times, the game that they have is a set of rules, an abstract set of rules, right? They've been thinking about some stuff they like, and sometimes, you know, the worst ones are basically what used to be called a fantasy heartbreaker. So it's like Dungeons and Dragons with a couple of house rules that the designer really likes, and otherwise it's essentially pointless. Like the entire existence of that rule set is just to do that one variation. Sometimes they are more sophisticated than that, and sometimes they're attempting to imitate things from other RPGs, which is good, by the way. And it in a certain sense, it's good to imitate stuff from other RPGs if those things work, right? And sometimes it's just something that they have purely created themselves, a system that they are convinced is going to be the win-all system of everything, right? And in most of these cases, the people who are making these games have as their first concern trying to have the perfect rule set. So that is a kind of Eurogame thinking, right? Because they have no setting for it. They have no, I mean, they might actually have a setting for it, but they don't. That isn't what they're putting into consideration, right? And they're not considering how the rules should match the setting. This is a failing, in other words. What you get out of it is going to be a game that will very likely not be great, right? Because when you're a newbie game designer, and if you decide that you are the genius who's going to reinvent the wheel, odds are you're wrong about that, right? Odds are that the wheel you make is going to be much crappier than the wheel that has been worked on for 50 years now. Okay, but you know, they might do something really really sophisticated set of rules, but that doesn't, first of all, that in itself does not guarantee success. It doesn't mean that just because you've made a great set of rules, that those rules are going to be popularized. And usually there are a couple of dirty tricks around this, like the Euro games, right, where you think you're playing like, you know, Carcassonne or something, but that's actually just painted on. It's a Potemkin village, right? You could do a Potemkin village setting, and if you make it cool enough, if you market it enough, maybe it'll succeed, right? But in general, what people want, especially in RPGs, because RPGs are immersive, is a product that is centered around the concept of a setting, and a setting here could mean a world. It could mean a time and place, right? Something like what you see in Sword and Caravan, where it is, you know, Sword and Caravan is not a rule book; it's a source book. But it's a source book that provides you everything you need to run Lion and Dragon in the period between 1190 and 1220 in the areas of the Levant and the Silk Road, and that's what it's made for, right? And so that allows people then to use Lion and Dragon to do that as well as Lion and Dragon's default, which is late medieval role-playing. Now, Lion and Dragon doesn't have a setting in its own main book. It has other settings like Albion and Sword and Caravan, but it does have a default setting. Lion and Dragon was not created as a set of abstract rules. It was created as a set of rules that were meant to effectively emulate a medieval authentic zeitgeist, a medieval authentic, look at it, a medieval authentic worldview, okay? And that's what they do, and that's the secret to the success of that product. Star Adventure, on the other hand, for example, it is a space opera RPG. It's 32 pages long. It's a tiny set of rules. So you would be thinking, well, so that's got to be like a Eurogame, right? No, because Star Adventure, all of those rules are not made to create to represent a specific setting. It's not a Flash Gordon RPG or a Star Wars RPG, although technically I created the game to run Star Wars, so in some ways it is. My cat just tapped on, she loves to tap on screens. She just tapped on the screen, and now I believe that there's like a light thing highlighting her. I don't know how the hell she just did this. Jeez, Domino, what the heck are you doing? Were you a computer person in a past life? What the hell? All right, I don't know. I think it's okay, but I hope that this is actually now still filming all right. It's not just all distorted or something. So I did make it technically to run Star Wars, but the point of it is that it is set up to run a space opera genre. And so all the rules there give you a toolbox that you can then adapt. You can take the final step. It's going to be for a space opera type science fiction RPG, but you can decide the particulars of the setting. That is still not the same as a kind of Euro RPG format, right? A Euro RPG format is where you come up with a brilliant set of rules that are basically connected to nothing. Like, I mean, you can say, well, it's generic fantasy. Yeah, like, so yes, you've got generic fantasy, but that doesn't really count as a genre, right? You have to get more specific than that. Gonzo fantasy counts as a genre, for example, because it is sufficiently of a weird subset that you can have genre-specific tropes that have to be considered in the system and the mechanics, right? And that's what, you know, how the Gonzo Fantasy Companion is a supplement for World of the Last Sun. Its rules, in as many as there are, they're mostly random generators, right? And those rules are... Oh, down she went. I'm impressed how well you can jump at your tiny size and 2-month age. She's not coming back, guys. Sorry, because I'm not going to pick her up again. Those rules are made to create the Gonzo fantasy aesthetic, right? And this is the always going to be the better way. It's the better way, in my opinion, on war games. Now I know, or board games. I know that there are some people that love the Euro games. I think most of those people probably have Asperger's or something, right? There's something wrong with them. They either have Asperger's or they're Dutch or I don't know what. But there's something there. Belgians, who knows? But for most people, what people want to have is an experience that is immersive and that doesn't feel like the setting is just a facade, right? So one of my main areas of advice to you, and I've said this in other ways before in other videos, is don't just make a set of rules in the abstract. Make a game that is meant to produce a specific experience, right? Now that can be a kind of broad experience. Like you could have, you know, classic 80s style traditional fantasy, okay? That could be your specific, right? Or it could be much more specific than that. It could be, you know, early medieval Poland, like Baptism of Fire, right? That is another possibility. Speaking of which, 101 Sarmatians came out 2 days ago. That is the first source book, the first large source book for Baptism of Fire, because there are some smaller source books that are available as pundit files. The first big source book, 101 Sarmatians, has much updated information on all of the, you know, much more detailed information on all of the noble houses of Poland at this time. It presents 101 different NPC characters that come from the different noble houses. There's intrigues, there's history, there's lore. There are random tables for a variety of things, mainly for generating adventures, right? And it has as an appendix a set of rules and a list of popular saints in the PS period in Poland, and rules for how your characters can engage in the adoration, the veneration of saints, for protection and specific things, right? So It's the Saint supplement. So be sure to check it out. 101 Sarmatians. It's available at drive-thru right now. The description is going to be in the link to this video. And yeah, so just thought I should throw that in there. But basically, I'm done, actually. I think the main point is that you're going to want to make your design in such a way that you're not worrying so much about the perfection of the rules as you are of what the rules evoke when you're playing them. And if you're not thinking about that first and foremost, you end up having a real problem. That's it, I guess. This cuts it short a bit. But I don't know. I did another video that was a bit shorter than average, and it did quite well. And I'm wondering if you guys, my audience, if you prefer longer videos or if you prefer shorter videos, or if you don't care as long as it's just, you know, me doing what I want to do for a video. Which is, to be honest, probably what will always end up being what I do, right? So you can, but I still want to know. I'm still curious, right? Because obviously, if like everybody says no, a half hour is way too long, you know, you should make it like 10 to 20 minutes, then okay, that's something worth knowing, right? Which doesn't mean I won't sometimes go over time, right? Or if people say, no, I don't like these videos that are too short because I want to, you know, I want to shower for a half an hour while I'm listening to your voice. I don't know, that's a bit disturbing, but I guess it's possible. So whatever. Tell me what you think. And again, check out 101 Sarmatians. The link is in the description below. Share this video anywhere you think people will find it useful, or if you think they'll get pissed off about it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And don't forget to check out all my other products. They're all in the description of this video, which you just click the little more icon and it'll expand to a list of all my stuff, including the Pundit Files, which is my periodical. The current issue of the Pundit Files, a very special issue. It's number 26 and it's called Chort. And it is a homage to the works of Venger Satanis for the World of the Last Sun, a Gonzo fantasy version of Venger's Chult, and for the floating world, the floating islands of the World of the Last Sun. And I think that you guys will find it very entertaining. I know that it's that Venger has given its approval, so you know, you guys should totally check that out. It only costs $3.50. Whether you're a Pundit fan or a Venger fan, or hopefully both, and maybe a Red Room fan too, you're likely to enjoy that book. And if not that one, any of the other 25 other Pundit Files so far. And there are more to come, don't you worry. I guess that's everything for today. Currently smoking. This is a Lorenzetti egg, not lit yet, but about to be lit, with our Gento roots.